Yeah, man, I like that, man. I'm
Yeah,
down.
man. All right, we are live. We are live. We'll just wait and see for a few people to come on here. It usually it takes like maybe like 25 to 30 seconds before people show up, and then they'll start saying what's up in the chat. So we'll see that here shortly,
All right, cool,
I
man.
think. But yeah, man, it was great to finally meet you in DC. I keep on thinking like how much fun that was, how awesome that was to meet all these Black conservatives and just the energy there. So like, what did you think about the YBLS and the walkaway march and everything?
Oh man, it was amazing, man. Because I started off at Walkaway because Brandon Strock and everything. I met Brandon Strock a couple times, so just him, allowing me to get my voice out there, man. It was amazing. And then that opportunity from just me doing that video, having a chance to go to YBLS, it was an historical moment, man. Like I've never been, like I said, the largest group of Black conservatives in American history gathered together there, man. And like I said, I just never, and I'll be honest with you, man, I never been around so many like-minded Black young people in my life, man. And it was like, yo, you didn't have to cover up. You didn't have to, oh man, I talk, slang and, what am I slang? Nah, nothing. Just be yourself. And people are right there with you, man. And people 15, 14, 16 years old, man, that were just sharp. And I'm like, man,
Yeah,
okay.
man. Yeah, man. The level of literacy, the elevated speak, that everyone was articulate. They just brought some intelligent ideas and conversation. I loved it, and I love that video that you posted. That's why I commented on it. Well, it
Yeah.
looks like we got 21 people watching. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Okay, hello. Let me do my little introduction. Hello, 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 hello out there. Is everybody favorite conservative in New York? Christopher Wright. And I'm just talking to my friend, my boy Mike Magnificent. You know what I mean? And we're just doing our live stream here. If you want to check me out, you guys know Conservative in New York in YouTube, Christopher Wright and Chris Wright on Facebook. I got two accounts because one's my backup. I keep getting banned on my main one. and then Conserve in New York is my Twitter. So just CONCSERV in New York. And that's my, with the @ symbol, of course, beforehand. And that's like my main source is Instagram, conservative _NIN_NY. That's my Instagram. So just want to introduce myself, and I'm glad everybody's tuning in. It's definitely a privilege and an honor to be with such a bunch of great patriots. Really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, man. Hang on one second here. I'm trying to get these. I want to be able to pull up the chat here, and I'm not seeing it on my screen yet. So if worst case scenario, I'll just do it from my phone. But hold on, let me check something out there. Hang on, guys, for you guys that are commenting. I can't see the chat yet.
Yeah, I'm working on my computer, guys. So my laptop's cutting on. It's an old laptop. I only want y'all to see it. It's ancient. It's a dinosaur. So I'm waiting for mine to get going so I can see you guys what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. We got Uber guy in the building.
Uber guy. What up, man?
Let me see. See, I'm looking on my phone, man. So hold on. Let me just give people shout outs that are watching. E.G. Joey already with the super chat, $5. My guy Joey. We got PM in the building. We got Brent Jensen. We got Yankee Rebel. We got St. Andrew 65. We got Uncle Rich. Maurice Delk in the building.
Oh man.
We got some folks in here, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Some real Patriots coming in there.
Oh yeah, we got some Patriots in there. And yeah, so I don't want to delay anything. I'll just use my phone for the chats right now because I would love to see it from my computer, but it's just acting up. So we'll just do it from here. But yeah, man. So let's get right into it. Give me your thoughts on this shutdown.
Oh man. To be honest, me personally, I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm not a government employee, of course, you know what I mean? So I'm not directly affected by anything about when it comes to it. But it needs to be done, man. We need border security, and we needed it for a long time. And every president before Trump for the last 30 years has been talking about building a fence or stronger border security, getting the military down there. And now we got a president that's actually doing something about it, and people are flipping out and acting crazy and saying he's a racist and this is, oh my gosh, he's Hitler, this is like the Nazi movement and all this crazy stuff, man. I'm like, no, man, this is border security, man. And this country needs us. We're technically the greatest country on earth. And the fact that we don't have a secure border is insane. Because you go to third world countries and some of them have secure borders and they're, third world countries. How does America not have any kind of border to protect its citizens? And I also feel, and when it comes to the Black community, I mean, economy-wise, man, you got to look at the bigger picture, man, because you see a lot of these illegals who are coming over here, man, they're taking a lot of jobs from the Black community and Hispanic community that's legal citizens here. and they're coming in, they're undercutting them by working under the table, willing to do the same job for $6-7 an hour. And it's crazy. And not to mention they're getting money from the taxpayers on top of that for assistance, government assistance. And it's like, it's just crazy that we are doing all this for illegals, but yet we got veterans out here. I'm in New York, veterans on the streets every day. You see them laying there with nowhere to go. So it's like, how do we have our veterans struggling and we're breaking our backs for legal immigrants to come here? So.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was fuming the other night after Trump gave that speech and he highlighted all the reasons why we need the wall, which should be so common sense. Like, drugs are literally pouring over the border. People are losing their lives. You have human trafficking. It's happening. It's undeniable. But all you heard from the Lamestream Media, they're like a cartel for the Democrats. I swear. They're right there. They're just a straight up propaganda enforcement arm for the Democrats. They're like, we're going to fact check Trump. We need to fact check him before he starts spewing all his lies. I'm like, okay, you're going to fact check someone who was killed? Okay, you're going to look up his obituary? Like, yeah, okay, he was definitely killed. Oh, yeah, heroin definitely comes over our southern border. Like, what did Trump say that was a lie or inflated? At the very most, he might have been a little hyperbolic, but that's because he wants to drive home the point. Being hyperbolic is not the same thing as telling a flat out lie. He told the truth. And the fact that after he told the truth and laid out his case for why we need a wall, then Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer go out there and they totally they say nothing. They say completely nothing. Yeah. They're just like, yeah, President, we want to reopen the government and the president just doesn't want to do anything. It's like, why don't you at least acknowledge that people have lost their lives? And I love how they tried to spin the entire thing. They tried to spin it and say, well, what about the 800,000 Americans that are without jobs or they're not getting paid or not going to get their food stamps? And I'm just like, let's just be honest. What percentage of the people who aren't going to get food stamps aren't even working? I don't feel sorry for them. Sorry. If you don't work, you don't eat. So you need to know how to survive in the case of the government shutdown. This is exactly why we don't need to depend on the government, because when you depend on the government, what they give you, they can take away. And I personally just like being independent like that. So I don't have as much sympathy for those people. Now, for the Americans that are losing out on paychecks, from what I understand, they've only lost out technically on, I think, 2 paychecks. They get paid twice a month. So I don't feel that bad for them, especially in comparison to families who've lost, like that officer in California whose son is not going to have his dad anymore.
Yeah, you see 2 officers now, man. And they're both minority officers, man. You can't, because they're so quick to just cast things off if it's a white male, like, oh, whatever, hey, a white man dies, who cares? But these are 2, guys who are minority officers who lost their lives, man. And you guys in the media sweeps it on the rug like nothing happened. They're kind of like, anytime that happens, you see how quick they just like, okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Oh, Cher said this about Donald Trump, or some kind of crazy story to get away from some real factual what's going on in this country, like, that's affecting all Americans, man. And it's just frustrating because, like you said, they're like the right arm for the Lamestream Media. I mean, for the Democratic Party. And it's just crazy because it's frustrating because I got so many family members, man, and friends who the media is what they use for all the information. And when I try to educate them and tell them, hey, man, look at the facts, they're like, well, Don Lemon said this and Anderson Cooper said this. And I'm like, wow, man. So you see how powerful that extension of the Democratic Party really is, man. And it's just time for Americans to wake up, man, because if we don't wake up and look at the bigger picture, if you look at what the Democrats are trying to do, they're trying to bring in illegal immigrants into the country so they can push the black community out, because they know if they lose the black vote, there is no more Democratic Party. They don't exist. There's no such thing as Democratic Party no more. So what are you doing? Instead of trying to actually help out the black community to keep our support, they're just slowly, okay, get these immigrants over here so we can just push them out of the way. And then we got our new voters and we can do what we want. And that to me is just like, man, that's the most un-American thing I can think of right now.
Yeah, man, it's ridiculous. Don't even get me started on the black community and supporting open borders. And it's like they have the nerve to call a free thinker or a conservative, a libertarian, whatever you are. If you're black and you don't toe the line of the Democrat Party, they'll call you a sellout. What on earth are we selling out? We're telling you the truth that you're going to be disenfranchised and replaced by the new sacred cow of the Democrat Party, which is illegal aliens. Think about everything that's gone on since we've known about these caravans. Trump's like, it's all military age men. They lied about Democrats or the mainstream media. They're like, it's a bunch of innocent women and children just seeking a better life.
Nope.
Then
70% male, man. 70%
right.
male.
And then when the caravan shows up and there's literal video evidence of it being all men throwing rocks, trying to climb the border, or climb over the fence, all this crazy stuff. They're like, no, don't believe your lying eyes. Look at these optics right here. Trump's tear gassing women. He's gassing women and children. So they get those still shots and they put it on TV and they run it on a loop so that people, that's all they see. So they control the optics. So people have their brains on autopilot and they're just like, man, look at what Trump's doing. He's gassing. I stand with them. I stand with them. We need to open our borders. America's racist and all this. And then finally, you know, when Trump's like, yeah, we got to do something. We have to do something. I'll shut down the government. Then they're like, what about these workers? You know, and then when the officer was killed, they're like, well, what about these kids that died in Border Patrol custody? So they're just playing a sick little game.
And they really are, man. And see, like I told you earlier, I was telling Mike earlier, I was a military brat growing up, man. I lived in Germany for 5 years in Baumholder and Mannheim, the 2 military bases for the U.S. over there. I think Baumholder is gone. One of those 2 are gone now. But when I was over there, man, I saw the Berlin Wall fall. You know, I saw a lot of amazing things, man. I learned a lot when I was over there for 5 years. When I came to the States in 91, I always said to myself, hey, man, I wouldn't mind living in Europe when I got older, man. That'd be a place for me to live, maybe go back to, check out when I got older. And so I always kept my eye out in Europe, man. So when everything happened in Benghazi, I was watching that like an eagle eye, man. And when, when Obama and Hillary tried to come out and say, oh, it was a YouTube video that caused the whole ruckus in Benghazi, and they let the whole refugee crisis happen. And then when the refugees got to Europe, you saw Angela Merkel, Theresa May, all those European leaders, Macron or whatever, just open up the borders wide open. Come on in. And I watched them do this. And they were hugging these illegals and everything. And I'm like, wow, man, what are they doing? And now you see what's going on in France, man. They're literally in a civil war right now. Like, and I'm telling people all the time, if you want evidence of what's going to happen to America if we let this legal immigrants over, just look at Europe. You don't got to like look at some conspiracy theory website or, oh, Chris is just talking crazy. Turn on YouTube, say France, type in France and yellow vest protest, and you'll see everything you need to see, man. They are going through a struggle. And I'm like, that would be the same thing that happened to us if we do this, if we are that ignorant to when it comes on with this border control, man. Like America, we got to wake up before we end up like them, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So how do you feel about the what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to blink first? Because it's literally a stalemate. The Democrats, I feel like they think they have something to gain. Trump definitely has the leverage because you saw with him saying, you know, I'm down to reopen the government, but we need the funding for the wall first. And the Democrats come back and they say, yeah, we want that too, but let's reopen the government first. So Trump literally calling their bluff saying, well, if you want that too, let's just fund it and then reopen the government. Because we all know that if Trump says, okay, let's open the government and then negotiate, then they're just going to stonewall it more. They're just going to filibuster and block. That's all they're doing.
You know what they do, man. That's all they do. That's all. That whole policy is filibustering. It seems like Democrats, all they do now. They say this: we're not Trump, and they filibuster. That's all they have. So, in my opinion, I think Trump, like you said, he has the upper hand right now. And only thing I was worried about when it came to Trump was the Rhino Republicans, man. I was like, man, what are the Rhinos going to do, man? Because I live in New York City, and this is there's not many Republicans here, but the ones are here are usually Rhinos. And that's what I'm trying to change, get that young conservative movement going on here. But when I saw Mitch McConnell come out and pretty much said he's not in the Senate, he's not going to take a bill without the wall, that was like a battery in my back right there, man. I was like, we need that. We need, like, you know, all Republicans need to be on the same boat when it comes to this, man. We don't need little, you know, like Paul Ryan's done in the past. We don't need them drifting over here and to the side and, well, you know, we can negotiate. No, we need you guys to stand firm with our president, you know, and you guys are Republicans. You're the same party as him, man. So no better time than now, because if they, you know, if they don't get this done, man, it's going to be trouble for the Republicans. And I think Trump will still be okay, but it's going to hurt him a little bit too. So they need to get this wall, man. They need to get it done. And I like the idea that even the Democrats brought up with the metal barrier instead of concrete. That's the first time a Democrats have come up with a halfway decent idea in the last 4-6 years, man. So I'm like, you know, so they look like they're coming together with him a little bit there. So I'm hoping that the Democrats who were coming up with that idea will be the ones who are going to vote to help out the president to get the job done. So, you know, we're going to see, man, like you said, you saw Schumer, you know, I call him the Penguin, but Chuck Schumer and the Skeletor, I call her, Nancy Pelosi, they came out and it had, you know, all the black folks behind them that were, you know, government employees, and they're doing what they've been doing this with black community for years. They're just using our face to try to push an agenda. So I said, here they go, just parading black people around, saying, hey, well, what about look at these employees? But I'm like, you guys could use all kinds of races and culture for your employees. You use straight black people. And we know why you're doing it for, man, because you just want to push an agenda. And once that agenda is pushed, you're going to push them back to the side where you feel they belong. So, you know, President's doing the right thing. He just needs to continue to stay firm. And I think that eventually the Democrats going to cave in, man, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think with his address, I think he hammered home exactly what it is. No matter who you are in this country, you at least can acknowledge that there is a crisis at the border. Whether or not you agree with the wall, you know that there's something going on. You know that people have lost their lives. It's impossible to ignore this. So with the Democrats trying to double down on their, you know, insulting people's intelligence, like, let's just show black people. Let's just show all these poor American citizens. People aren't fooled by that. They're not fooled by it. And as far as the Republicans, those rhinos and neocons that don't want to support Trump, I think they're learning their lesson with the midterms. Yes. All of those rhinos, all the people that were against Trump, they got voted out.
Bro, I'm in New York, bro. I said the only place I think the blue wave smashed and crashed was in New York City. It smashed us hard, man. I think Republicans lost every congressional seat in New York City. But you know what? Like I told you earlier, guess what? New York is full of rhinos. And there were a lot of people coming out saying, oh, they were so afraid to come out and would support a president. And there's a gentleman, Steve Saperstein, who I was working on his campaign. I was working up on his campaign until he just wouldn't come out and say he's a Trump supporter. And once he did that, I just stepped away, man. I'm like, if you cannot support the president, I can't support you, bro. And he was like, no, it's not like that. And then he got blown out. So I'm like, when are you guys going to learn, man? Like the people want this man in the White House. And that's who votes for congressmen, presidents, governors, or people, you know, not your ego. So it's time to step up, man. He's done a great job so far. He's represented the Republican Party amazingly. Like I said, this is one of the greatest presidents in American history, in my opinion. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to stand up with this guy, man, and fight. You know, it's just, but that just shows you how brainwashed the rhino mentality is, man. It's just almost as bad as liberalism, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly why we're so grateful to have Trump, because for the longest time, the Republicans that were in office, they were just controlled opposition to the Democrats. I really think that they were just making deals behind the scenes, like, all right, you give us welfare, we'll give you warfare, and let's just keep it like that. Yeah. We'll keep raising taxes. Well, you pretend like you're doing this, because everyone goes out there and talks a good game, but then when they get in office, they change their entire everything. Their entire talk track changes. One of the things that's so glaring right now, and I love it because I still have a lot of liberal friends on Instagram and Facebook, is I'm just putting everything that Democrats have said in the past. That is exactly what Trump is saying. I'm like, okay, so if it's racist, then you should be mad that Chuck Schumer said it in the past. If it's bad and xenophobic, you should be mad about Obama saying it. Okay. Obama put kids in cages. Obama separated families. So are you upset about children being separated, or do you hate President Trump? You got to pick one. You can't have both. You can't be like, oh, it was just Obama, but I hate Trump doing it. You can't do that. You either have to care about one or don't care about it at all. And that's what is so awesome about the internet, because there's so many videos of presidents in the past, whether it's Bill Clinton, Chuck Schumer, whoever, not just presidents, just people in the past acknowledging that there's a crisis at the border. And now that it's because it's coming out of Trump's mouth, everyone's outraged. And I'm just calling them out for being fake. It's not that you care. You have Trump derangement syndrome. You need to recognize your Trump derangement syndrome, snap out of it, turn the TV off, and turn your brain on. So many people in this country focus more of their attention on what they're being told and not what they're experiencing, right? You could turn on CNN. They could tell you it's pouring rain outside and people would get an umbrella. As soon as they walk outside, the sun is shining, because they put stock into what they're told, not what they're experiencing. And we just need to get back to that.
We definitely do, man. And you know, they're a party of hypocrisy, man. That's what's so frustrating. You know what I mean? They say one thing and do another. And then when you point them out on what they're doing, they call you a Nazi or you're racist. And it's like, no, I'm just pointing out your BS, man. And, you know, it's time for the, you know, for the country to wake up, man, and see the bigger picture, man. Like you said, man, I got family and friends I grew up with, man, that, you know, a lot of them, not a lot of them, quite a few I don't talk with anymore. And what was so frustrating with it, man, is they know me growing up. I always do my research. I never come out and say anything or fight for something without having a backup, you know, without my information behind me saying, hey, here it is. So when I was coming out for Trump, I was seeing a lot of people just kind of like, well, you know, CNN says this and MSNBC says this. And I'm like, are you going to listen to a dude, a male or a female in a suit, or, you know, talking like a robot, reading off a teleprompter over me, when you guys know I'm always the one that's looking for truth, always facts, and I'm giving you evidence. Here's video evidence. Here's paper. Here's factual evidence. Here's paperwork. Here's everything you need to see. Here it is. And I just see them looking at me like sheeple, like, I don't know what to do now. They're short-circuiting, like, and it's like, just accept the truth, man. Like, it's not so hard to do. Use your brain, common sense, man. It's like, wow. And these people are some grown people, man. Like, some people I know are doctors, lawyers, people who are educated, and they are educated, you know, school-wise, but they seem so ignorant when it comes to common sense, man. And it's just, you know, that Trump derangement syndrome has exposed all of this, man. And it's just, it's crazy. And you see celebrities are the same way, man. You see some of these celebrities are losing their minds. And it's just like, wow, look what's going on in the country, man.
Yeah, you know what? I think that when it comes to truth, I think truth is a value. I think you have to value the truth. Right?
That's a good point, man. I like that.
I value the truth. I am a truth seeker. I want to know what is what. That's one of my values. And you have a lot of people who don't value the truth at all. They would prefer to be told a beautiful lie than hear the ugly truth. And Donald Trump tells the ugly truth. I like that he's not polished. I don't want a president. From now on, I do not want a president that talks like Obama.
Yes.
Yo,
I'm glad you said that, man.
Gosh, Obama was a silky, smooth, slick talking politician. Remember when he sang like Marvin Gaye or somebody? He just did
Al Green. He sung Al Green.
Al Green. He sung Al Green. I'm like, and you see a lot of black folks like, oh yeah, that's right.
You hear the ladies' voices, ooh, in the background. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, Obama was more of like a feminist female. He just had like beta male energy. He didn't have that like rugged, like toughness to him.
No, Michelle was the alpha there. Michelle was the alpha in that relationship. You know what I mean? And if you come to New York City, you see a lot of females being the alpha and the males being the betas here. It's like, it's all over the place here. So you see the remnants of what it is, man. And what's so funny, people say, oh, I don't like the way Trump speaks. Why does he have to be so brash? I'm like, I'm in New York, man. I tell you what, a lot of New Yorkers, man, who are native New Yorkers moved out of here a long time ago. You know, it's mostly been taken over by California hipsters taking over New York. But when I run into those New Yorkers, man, who are born and raised and they're 50 plus, guess what they sound like? They sound just like Donald Trump. Brash, in your face, but they keep it real with you 24/7. Here it is, the truth. Boom. And I'm like you said, give me the truth straight up and brash, than a lie that's smooth and just, oh, look at the way he said it. Now, forget all that, man. Like, I can handle the truth, man. And like I said, I've done sales most of my life, man. And I tell people all the time, Donald Trump reminds me of a sales manager that comes in the office once a year during the holidays, right? And all the salesmen, they're talking to each other, talking about how they can run the company and how they're the best salesmen. And you're like, yo, why is this guy run? I should be running it. And then when he comes in that one time a year, he walks in the room, he works the entire room and walks out. And everybody's looking at each other like, dang, that's why he's the boss. And that, to me, is what Trump represents, man. And it's like, you hate it or love it, man, but that's why he's the boss, because he gets the job done. And it's what he's been doing so far, man. He's the only president in my life, in my entire life, that what he rallied on in his campaign, and I watched his rising campaigns, because I didn't just go support Trump. I was supporting Dr. Ben Carson first. And then when the media lied on Dr. Ben Carson about West Point, then Trump stepped up and crushed the media. So I watched Trump. So I watched his rallies, what he said his rallies, and what he said like resonated with me. So when I was like, okay, I like what he has to say. And then when he became president, he fulfilled what he said. And I'm like, I didn't think that was possible, to be honest with you. Call me crazy. You know, I mean, my grandparents might remember a time with JFK or whatever, that a president did that, but I've never seen a president stick to his word like Donald Trump has. And they're trying to make him Hitler for doing it. And I'm like, that's insane to me. Like the one guy who actually sticks to his word, you guys are telling me he's a Nazi. And it's like, come on, man, give me a break. Yeah, I'm not going to fall for that easy. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Again, going back to having truth is a value. You know, I was watching, I'm not gonna lie, I was watching a World War II documentary yesterday just because I'm a nerd. I like to do that.
I do too, man. I love history, man.
Yeah, and I was, I was learning like, all right, what exactly was Hitler up to, leading up to, World War II and the territory he took over, and learn about Mussolini. And I didn't know Japan, they were some gangsters in World War II.
Ooh.
Japan was doing work, but everyone was focused on Hitler. But anyway, like Hitler wanted to take over the world. Donald Trump does not want to take over the world. Some people try to compare him to Mussolini as a fascist. Like, he is not anything like either of those two guys, nothing like them. But because they heard that from mainstream media, from college professors, from the blue checkmark mafia on Twitter, and all the celebrities, everybody came out and said uniformly, like, Donald Trump is like the second coming of Hitler. So then you had a bunch of like mockingbirds. They just parroting these same talking points, and you hear it over and over and over. But if you ask for a hard comparison, they can't give you any. They're like, well, he gave a speech like Hitler. He kind of blows his nose like Hitler. He kind of
well, he said grab him by the that whole thing. They always go back to that. That's like their main one. They go all the way back to. It's like, you guys use these little comments he made in the past and say, oh yeah, he's like Hitler because of that one little comment. I'm like, Hitler put people in a concentration camp, put them in ovens. That he didn't say nothing when he was doing that. He just did it. It was pure action, and I'm attacking. I'm coming after you. I'm like, Trump has made no policy since he's been president that's hurt women, that's hurt black people, that's hurt minorities, Latinos, nothing. And I remember before he ran, trust me, I'm in New York, bro. You would think an atom bomb went off the next day, November 10th, 2016. People were dead. The only time I heard New York that quiet in my life. And people, when you would finally start talking, they were saying, oh my gosh, it's over. I'm a woman and he's going to take away the right to abort my baby. And I have no more control over my womb. And I'm like, shut up. And I was just like, we'll see. And I was like, and everybody was looking at me like, you're crazy. I can't believe you're supporting him. He's going to destroy the world. And as time went by and months went by, years went by, nothing's happened. And they're just still like just trying to stick to some BS rhetoric, man, and make things up. And it's like, you guys need to be adults eventually and come to the conclusion that you were just wrong and accept it. You know what I mean? A lot of these liberals, they can't accept when they're wrong, man. Like I tell people all the time, when I was a Democrat, I voted for Obama. I campaigned for Obama in Georgia in 2008. I went door to door for the man, got over 500 votes for the man. And what happened with me is me and my best friend, we got an argument in his kitchen in front of his whole family about he was a conservative. He became conservative before me. So he was trying to get me to become conservative as well. And we got this huge argument in front of his whole family, man, because we were both best friends. We're passionate about it. We're going to fight. But you know how it is when you argue with a good friend, his passion comes out. And, after it was all said and done, I said, look, let's let history prove who's right. Let's leave it at that. And I sat back and I let time go by. And as time went by, I saw that he was right and I was wrong. So I called him like a man. I said, hey, look, man, remember the argument? He said, of course, it's cool. I'm past that. I'm like, nah, man, I'm calling to bring that up because I wanted to apologize. I'm a conservative now. I saw that, you were right. History's proving you right. And I think as a man, that's just the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like if you're a man and you're wrong, just admit you're wrong and move on. You learn something. That's good. You know what I mean? Don't double down and be just crazy hard-headed and just say more ignorant statements because you're going to end up looking really foolish at the end of the day. And that's a lot of these liberals are doing is looking really foolish instead of being adults, just admitting you're wrong, man, and just moving on. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. We've all been in a situation where we thought we were right and we were wrong. You have to swallow your pride. I can't even tell you how many people have unfollowed me, friends from Minnesota when I lived there, childhood friends. They unfollowed me because I posted videos and pictures of the Holy Messiah, Obama, saying the exact same words that Trump is saying, having the exact same stances. They're like, I don't like it. I don't want to deal with it. I need to live in my echo chamber where everything is bad because it's Trump. But when they realize that Obama said the same thing, it's like, okay, I guess I'm being fake because I'm not mad at Obama for saying it. I just don't like Donald Trump. I'd rather than just be like, I don't like Trump than pretend to care and virtue signal about children being separated and all these things.
Oh my gosh. And all these rappers talking about, look how he talks about women. I'm like, weren't you guys just talking about the B word and hoes and, twerk it and, all this, we all know what rappers talk about. You know what I mean? I still listen to rap music. And, I just got to the point where I just learned to tune out, what they're saying and just bop my head, listen to the beat, listen to the lyrics, enjoy the music. But now when they're coming out talking about Donald Trump is, oh, he's a sexist, he's this and the third. I'm like, man, you're the last person who should be calling somebody sexist or calling, and it's like, and it's making them look really silly, man. And it's just like, man, I just wish, like you said, man, I just wish people would just admit they're wrong, man. Just admit it, man. And you know, it's not that big of a deal. You don't even have to be a conservative, man. You don't have to say I'm a conservative now. I'm changing my political. You can say, you know what, I'm still a Democrat. But hey, man, Trump ain't that bad, man. He ain't trying to take my family away from me, man. He ain't trying to, you know, just whatever, man. Next couple years, we're gonna see what happens. I want to support my party still, and and just be normal. Like if the Democrat Party just fell back, like we've done every 4 years, remember when Bush Al Gore situation happened, that was a real suspect situation. But when Bush was announced the winner, this is one thing, you know, I'm not a big Al Gore fan, but one thing he did was just step back and said, okay, let the man govern. And the support and all the supporters of each candidate did the same thing. They all backed up, let the man govern. And of course, we know what he did for those 8 years. But either way, do the same thing for Trump, man. If I had a dollar, if I had to tell people on the left, let the man govern. Like I said those 3 words a trillion times. 4 words, sorry. A million times I said those words to people, man. Let the man govern, man. Just let the man govern. And if he does a bad job, guess what, guys? People are going to see him do a bad job. The media is going to expose him. And then when it's time to re-election, he's not going to get the votes from his supporters or obviously the opposition. But they just can't do that. What they do is keep doubling down, looking silly. And I'm like, even if Trump did a bad job, the way you guys are acting, people will probably put him back in there because you guys looking so foolish. Mm-hmm. So it's like you guys, their tactics are just totally wrong. And I just don't understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Right. And I honestly, I wish people would wait until he's completed his second term, reserve your judgment to see how Trump actually did. And not just Trump, Republicans. You know what? I tell you, Republicans continue to be on the right side of history. You go back to the founding, go back to when the Republican Party was founded. And every piece of meaningful legislation passed as it relates to Black people has been signed, pushed, stamped, approved, backed by the Republican Party.
Not one conservative in American history ever owned a slave, bro.
Man, I tell you, these pro-Black liberals, all these pro-Blacks, the woke community that think they're so woke, like, oh, I'm so woke. This is what's right. This is what's going on. You're horrible if you support Donald Trump. I'm like, okay, when you look back, was it a good thing that he signed that Restoration Act to clean up the communities? Is it a good thing that he's bringing jobs back to the inner cities in those Gary, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, the industry where Black people were working? When he talks about make America great again, make it economically great again. Did you know Detroit used to be a boom town? Everybody wanted to live in Detroit. Detroit was like the model American city, like the middle class, white picket fence, and that was for everybody, Black and white. Trump is making that better again. He's bringing that stuff back. So when you look back, are you going to say that's the wrong side of history? Or are you going to look back and say, you know what? I'm glad that Obama and them shut down the government for DACA. I'm glad that he signed an executive order to grant citizenship to illegal aliens. Who's going to look back and say that was the right thing to do? I'm glad the Democrats did that. Not one single person is going to look back, read in a history book and say, why did the first Black president do nothing for Black America? That's kind of interesting considering everything leading up to that with Blacks in America. How come the first Black president did nothing for Black people?
And he was from Chicago. Chicago ended up after 8 years of Obama. Chicago was worse off than it was when he started becoming president, man. And I'm like, and this is a good comparison, man, because if you look, for example, this is a perfect comparison between Obama to me and President Trump is prison reform. You remember when when Obama came and tried to do the whole his tack on prison reform? He sat down with those inmates and had the little interviews with them, and it was on MSNBC and CNN. And it was like, a talk show. And you see when Trump comes out, Trump just invites leaders from the Black community to the White House, sits down, talks with them. What's the best thing we should do? Okay, I agree. And then he signs the documents and gets things passed. I'm like, give me a leader who gets the job done, who gets things passed. Before you just get somebody who's just a bunch of talk, man. And Obama was just a bunch of talk. And Blacks are still listening to his talk and just nodding their head like, okay, Obama's talking. Yeah. But I'm like, you guys can nod your head with the talk. If I don't see my dad always told me, actions speak louder than words. So if you're not having the action behind the words, they're useless. And Trump, his words are short and brash, there's action right behind it, man. And that's all I need to see is that action, man. Because he did what he did with prison reform. He funded Black colleges. I mean, all these things he's doing for the Black community. Every time he does something, I'm like, why didn't Obama do that? I'm like, that wasn't hard to do. That was quick. He did that very easily. Why didn't our first Black president do those things? Like, why couldn't he do those things? Like, if he would have done them, I don't see opposition from the right or left against Obama getting these things done. but yet he didn't even make an attempt. And people are quick to say, "Oh no, they tried to stop Obama." No, we got him the House and the Senate at one point after 2 years of him being president, and he didn't do nothing but that crappy Obamacare. And so it's like, I'm not going to use that excuse. Oh, people were against Obama. Obama was oppressed. No, Obama had plenty of opportunity to help out the black community. He just chose not to. He'd rather invite Beyonce and Jay-Z to the White House. He had more. That's the only thing he wanted to do for the black community.
Right. And Obama was a globalist. Obama didn't care about America. So that includes all black people in America. It wasn't even just about black people. Obama didn't care about the country. Obama
was globalist. Not at all. Remember, it took him to the end of his presidency to finally say the words radical Islam. Like, it's like, the people were getting bombed all over the place, the Boston bombing, the nightclub shooting in Orlando, all this crazy stuff was happening, and Obama would not say the words radical Islam. And it's like, you're not even disrespecting Islam when you say that. You're just talking about radicals, man. There's radicals everywhere, and there's radical, Christians, there's radical, radicals everywhere, man. And it's like you just point at the radicals on that, and that kind of was one of the things that made me kind of say, you know what, is Obama a Muslim, man? Like, is he somehow connected with the man? Because that was the one thing he just could not touch, man. And he was just so hard, he just wouldn't go there. And it was just so obvious in our face where it's like, man, come on, man, why can't you say that? And it's just, that shows you to me that he was part of the agenda, in my opinion, the globalist agenda.
He absolutely was. And, I know we might have some of those woke pro-blacks in there probably mad, like, see, all these black conservatives do is go and attack Obama. So who cares? So what? It's because they're so infatuated with identity politics. They are obsessed with their skin color. They're like, the most important thing about me is my black skin. So therefore, that's how I see the world. It's all about optics with the left, all about identity politics. And Obama just played right into that. He was all about that identity politics.
Obama was the master of identity politics, man. You remember when Trayvon Martin, the whole situation with Trayvon Martin happened? And he came out, the first thing he said was, Trayvon Martin could have been my son. And he had a little teardrop come down from his eye. He wiped off. And that was game over from that point on, man. And I said, bro, you're the president of the United States. We all know the president of the United States, when something like that happens, you're supposed to come out and lead the whole entire country. Not just the black community, not just white people, not just a certain race or religion. You're supposed to uplift the whole country, man. And when you came out and made that statement, I'm like, you know what you're doing, Obama. You know that's going to cause immediate division. You know that's going to cause conflict, and you don't care because you don't care about the country. You just want to cause conflict because, as a globalist term, there's at a conflict, they want to make, cause conflict so they can come in and try to bring peace. And that's what they were trying to do with that situation, man. And it's like, you guys, man, and he was the most divisive president, and to me, in recent years. I mean, the fact that Black Lives Matter started under him, Antifa started under him, all these radical groups MoveOn.org, the whole thing with Acorn, all that was under Obama, man. And people want to say, oh, Trump, look what Trump's doing to the country. We're so divided now. I'm like, no, we were divided about 4, 5, 6 years ago before Trump's name was even brought up. We were already pretty divided, man. So we were already heading towards identity politics way, way before Trump's name was even mentioned as a candidate running in 2016. So I don't want to hear Donald Trump is the reason for his country's divisiveness. It was the first black president who caused the divisiveness, in my opinion. Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up with the Trayvon Martin thing, because I want to pivot into something else. And you mentioned something about Obama with the Michael Brown stuff. Well, he sent White House staff to the funeral of Michael Brown. Michael Brown was a criminal. Michael Brown broke the law. And in the black community, you have like criminals that are celebrated. They will call Ben Carson a porch monkey, but then celebrate T.I. and Charlemagne, all these other just uneducated, unintelligent, just horrible garbage humans. That's what we have. And with this shooting in Houston, why is it that, the little girl that got shot, Jasmine Barnes, I think is her last name. May she rest in peace. Man, rest in peace. Oh my gosh. So I actually made a pre-recorded video about this, but I didn't upload it because I didn't like the way it turned out. But the way that this little girl was used as a pawn, they stood on her grave before she was even laid to rest. Why? All because they thought the suspect was white. If they had known that the suspect who killed her was black from the very beginning, it would not have circulated out of the Houston media market. Every single one of you watching this knows that. Everyone in America knows that. They only care about black lives if it's a white person that took it. If it's a black person, you can't even criticize it, because if you're white and you bring up crime statistics about black on black crime, you're racist. If you're black and bring it up,
You're an Uncle Tom. Let's call it what it is. I'm so tired of the fakeness. They propped up this story and sensationalized it and fanned the flames of the hysteria. They had these race pimps, Sean King, everybody on TV.
I was about to go there, man. I was about to go there. I was like,
yeah, give me your thoughts on that, because I'm still fuming about it, man. Because they didn't care about this girl.
This is my problem with the black community on the left, right? Sean King was the main person, the leader of that stampede on stomping this young black girl's grave. And I tell black people all the time, your leader is a white man. You know, a Black Lives Matter. You know, and they're so quick to be like, to point out Trump just said the third. I'm like, you guys are letting a white guy who's claiming to be black, you know, his birth certificate says both his parents were white, lead the black community in attacking, you know, this whole, you know, not attacking Jasmine, but attacking, you know, the white community on top of this girl's grave. And I'm like, can't you guys see you're being used? You're puppets, man. You're puppets. We've always been puppets for Democratic Party. Like I said, you're like me, man. I can tell you love your history, man. If you look at the history of the Democratic Party, man, they lynched us. They, you know, we were slaves. They hung us. They did all kinds of segregation. All this was Democrats, man. And we got to the point where they knew they couldn't cause a genocide with the black community, with Planned Parenthood and you know, lynching and all the KKK and all that they brought in. So they said, you know what, we got to get the black vote because we're not going to be a party anymore if we don't have it. So then they switched up their style. So instead of pushing the black father out of the house by just grabbing him off the slave ship and physically removing him, they used the government and the welfare system to tell the black woman, hey, if you get rid of the man in your house, we'll give you some more money. And she, you know, and then that's how they got rid of the father that way. So it's a mental game more than physical now, but it's the same outcome. The black father is gone. And I try to tell black people all the time, wake up and see what they're doing to us, man. Look how they're using us. And it's like, but, you know, when you tell a black person that, you get a lot of, you know, I like the ones, and this is why I like Gen Z, because Gen Z is always listening usually. And they'll just sit there and be like, okay, you're older than me. I want to hear what you guys say. You're an adult. And I'm like, and they listen. And when they listen, they're like, okay, I don't can't really argue with that because they don't have a dog in the fight. But when you talk with a lot of these leftists, man, as soon as you start hitting the nail in the coffin, you know, they start flipping out. They're like, you seem like short circuiting almost, like a robot. Like, don't talk, stop. I hate this, Trump's racist. And it's like, what are you doing right now? Calm down. Listen to what I have to say. You know, come to a adult conclusion once I'm finished, and then we'll go from there. But they can't handle it, man. And it's just like, and it's just so frustrating seeing what they did with this young lady's death, man. And the people that were doing it were the same people that are so quick to call Trump racist. And it's just unfortunate, man. And I just wish the black community would see the bigger picture and understand that they used us back in the 1700s and using us now, man. And it's just, you know, wake up, man, wake up.
Yeah, man. I mean, it really sours my mood to really talk about it because now that we know that the suspect was black, they're going to forget that little girl's name. They don't care. They don't care. Let's call it what it is. They don't care. They don't give a damn. In fact, there's probably, unfortunately, a black girl getting killed right now from some drive-by shooting. But because the shooters aren't white, it's not going to get story. It's not going to get coverage. Nothing's going to happen. They don't care. And all they want to do is destroy the community. Yeah, you're right. Like Obama hooked up so many black people to the teat of the government. Like, here, suck on this, get your welfare. Obama
free cell phones.
Record black welfare under Obama, because it's all about expanding that state power. And they've been controlling our cities. It's like, I don't understand why people continue to demand the change of their own enslavement, the mental enslavement. They're like, I'm voting Democrat. I don't care. I'm black. I'm voting Democrat. But it's like, have you seen Cleveland? Have you seen Chicago? Have you seen some of these?
Baltimore, where I'm from, man.
Baltimore, man. Memphis, East Oakland, North Las Vegas. It's not even just like all black cities. I lived in Minneapolis. They have a whole section of the city that whatever those boroughs, those little areas up there, horrible, dilapidated housing, like vacant lots, drugstore, liquor store combinations on every corner. You know, drive-by shootings every weekend. You go to the south part of Minneapolis, it's clean, it's nice, it's got restaurants, it's well kept, it's got more buses, and it's got the light rail over there. Man, it's by design. And then you have Democrats running those cities for decades.
And guess what, man? And if you look at it deeper, man, if you look at places like Baltimore and East New York and, you know, the Chicago, if you look at who's run, not only they ran by Democrats, but they're ran by black Democrats. I tell people all the time, the only thing worse than a Democrat is a black Democrat. They will be the first to knock our people off the map for a little bit extra money. Maxine Waters, for example, you know, living in her Hollywood mansion in the hills, you know what I mean, with her gated gates all around her home, protecting her border around her house, you know, and she'd be the first one to, during the LA riots, she's the first one coming out yelling and acting a fool, getting black people all riled up. And while they were in the streets getting shot and beaten up, you know, getting beat up by the police and getting felonies and all that and ruining their life, look where she's at now, still making that money. And that's the same thing to Al Sharptons of the world, the Jesse Jacksons of the world. That's what they're all about, man, because they have nothing if the black people are uplifted and doing well for themselves. They lose their whole, you know, victim mentality, you know, policy they push. That's all they have is that, man. So there's blacks out there that actually get money off other blacks not being successful. I mean, and I think LeBron James is the new pusher of that, in my opinion, to keep it real with you. He's the new one coming out there, like, you know, telling blacks they're slaves that they play in the NFL and all that. And, you know, and I grew up with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a person that when they questioned him, you know, how do you be like Mike? He would say, hey, work hard, eat right, go to school, do the right thing, don't break the law. You know, just telling you how, you know, the best way you could, how to be like him. And LeBron, hey, how to be like you, LeBron? Well, you can't, you know, we're slaves. And, you know, the white man owns the NFL and da-da-da. So he's trying to get blacks' mentality to get them angry, to go out in the streets, do something stupid, mess up their lives for the rest of their life so he can still be king. That's what I think LeBron's all about. A lot of these black leaders are about. They're about their personal, all about themselves, uplifting themselves instead of their community.
Yep, we call them poverty pimps. That's exactly what they are. You go see Sheila Jackson's Fifth Ward in Houston or Maxine Waters' 43rd Congressional District. You know, they want to just keep blacks in this fear. They use fear vibration to control the way blacks think. And then you can manipulate them. Obviously, you get them upset. And then what if what Sean King and them did caused riots in Houston over this little girl? How many black people would have gone to jail? How many more black people could have been killed? You know, they keep doing that. And all we can really do is continue to show them, put the truth right there in their face. You know, in the information age, being ignorant is a choice. You're choosing to be ignorant today. If you don't want to look up the facts, if you don't want to get on Google like I did and found out the parties never switched, and I watched every single video Dinesh D'Souza put out.
Oh, Dinesh
I want to know all of it.
He's much shout out to Dinesh D'Souza, man, a legend.
If I ever get to meet Dinesh D'Souza, I'm taking like 10 pictures. Like, you're the best. Thank you so much for putting the information out there. He put the information out there. I discovered it. I made a video. I will make 10 more videos if that's what it takes. And I tell people always, you don't even have to look up the facts. You don't even need, just go to any city. Tell me one mostly black city that you would feel comfortable moving your family to if you were a millionaire. But you know what a lot of these pro-blacks do? I went on, I don't know if you know who O'Shea Duke Jackson is. I went on his channel and did a live stream. I did a live stream on his channel, and his little woke black community over there that follows him, they were all roasting me because my grandparents decided to move to the suburbs of Denver, and I was raised in that area. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me
losing your black card, man. You're losing your black card with that statement.
Right. It's like, you don't live in the ghetto. You didn't grow up hard. You didn't grow up in the struggle. I'm like, okay, so if you hate my grandparents for what they did, for owning land and moving out to the burbs and doing all this stuff and creating generational wealth, then you literally hate Will Smith. You hate every black millionaire, because what black millionaire is going to take their money and their family and be like, you know what, let's move to 78th Street in Chicago. Let's go to Detroit.
We got to keep it real, son.
Yeah, these people are hypocrites. They're straight up hypocrites with the double standards. And I'm gonna give I gotta give some shout outs to some super chats real quick. Hold on. I'm on a roll here. Maya Queen, thank you for the super chat. And Valencia Hargrave, thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry I can't read all the chats, guys, because there's something wrong with my computer here, but I appreciate you guys that are communicating in the chat and giving me super chats. But
definitely, man, I gotta learn how to super chat, man. I can't super chat. You know, I haven't been monetized. I've been in review for about 6 months now. They won't pass me through monetization on YouTube because I'm a black conservative, pretty much. They hope, I guess they're hoping that, you know, they don't monetize me, and since I won't get any money, that I'll just give up since I'm a black man and I don't get no money. So why am I be, you know, he'll give up. If you don't get money, he'll leave. And I'm like, it's never been about the money. It's been about the message. Right. And you guys aren't going to stop me from presenting the message. You don't have to give me a dime from you. I'm making good money on my own personal life. I don't need a dime from YouTube. So, but it just shows you, man, like I tell you all the time, I never dealt with racism in this country until I said I was conservative. That's the first time in my life I've been called all kinds of crazy names by both black and white people, that I've been threatened, that, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And it's like, growing up as when I was a Democrat, I always been into politics, man. I remember growing up and I'll talk to older, white people or whatever that were Republicans. And when we would get into debates and they'll ask me, well, what party? I said, oh, so they're like, I say Democrat. They'll give me a little smile or whatever. But they always say, hey, man, I like the fact that you're a young man and you're into politics and you're thinking for yourself like that. Hopefully you get a little older. You might be a conservative. You might be conservative minded. But I like the fact so I always look back at that. And I say, man, when I was a Democrat and I thought the Republicans, man, they respected me. But now that I'm conservative, Democrats, no respect for me at all. No respect. And it's like, wow, but they're the party of progressiveness. And the Republicans, I've been telling the whole life, are the racist, evil white people. But they are open right now. Conservatives are open. I'm sure open arms to welcome me into the party. They're, thank you, welcome, old, young, middle-aged, welcome. Yes, Chris, please run for Senate, run for Congress, please. We love your message. I'm like, wow, my whole entire life I've been taught these were the evil people, and yet they're the ones who have been good. They've been good to me. They've always been good to me. Even when I was a Democrat, they were good to me. So I'm sorry, I won't fall for the the evil white man rhetoric. You know what I mean? That's BS, man.
Yeah, don't fall for the okie doke, man. It's a lot of the times on my channel, I say the truth is stranger than fiction. I don't just say it because it sounds cool or it's a catchphrase. I literally mean the truth is stranger than fiction. How is it that I've met at least 1,000 Trump supporters, and I probably had more than that who have messaged me? I get fan mail every day from people from all parts of the country that's like, I've been a lifelong Republican. I'm so happy to see Black Americans waking up. We don't have any problems with you. You're welcome at my house anytime. Come through Texas, whatever. People
don't you love that, man? Don't you love me see that?
And I'm like, are you kidding me? It gives me that much more energy and passion to continue this fight for truth, because I'm tired of being lied to. I'm tired of people trying to sell me my own oppression. I'm tired of these so-called pro-blacks telling me I can't support the president. I can't rock an American flag t-shirt. And they're just so authoritarian, and they think that they're God's gift to the earth, and they get to dictate orders, and they get to say, here's who you have permission to support. I'm like, get out of my face. You don't run anything around here. I will speak my mind, and the truth is going to come out, and it's going to come out in your face. And you really don't have a choice. You got to deal with it. So that's what you're going to get more of with me in 2019 and 2020 is I'm going to like quadruple down on the truth and just continue to put it out there. I'm going to every single Trump rally in the southeastern United States, because that's like driving distance for me, right? But I'm going to go to these Trump rallies and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm live streaming. I'm taking pictures with people. I'm saying, where are the white supremacists? Where's the KKK? Where's the neo-Nazis? They're propping it all up in the mainstream media. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some racists and KKK and neo-Nazis out there.
Of course.
But they have no political power. They have no economic power. They have no cultural influence. So why are we propping them up and normalizing them? And why are we using it? Why is the left using it as a straw man to attack the Republican Party? That's what they do. You see what they did with the midterm results? They're like, look at all these progressives. We got women. They're wearing hijabs. They're so young. They're progressive. We love everybody. And look over there. Look at all those white Republicans. Obviously, it's because they're racist. That's a straw man argument.
Yes, because it is. It truly is.
White people, they're racist. It's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. We need more black and brown in there, not to play identity politics, but to destroy their argument and their narrative. So I love that someone like Leo Dunson and Brandon Tatum are running for office. And people have told me, Mike, you need to run for office. But I'm like, if I run for office, I can't say what I just said. I can't say stuff like that and get elected. I got to follow someone.
And that's what I'm going through right now, man, because they're talking about wanting me to run against Ocasio-Cortez in the next election. And I said, for one, if I did that, man, I guarantee you I'll bring the trust me, the cameras will come. I'm not going to be like the candidate that ran against Anthony Pappas, who, older guy, he just kind of sat there and let her win. Trust me, there will be people paying attention to me, but it's New York City. If you look at the actual numbers of it, man, even if I crush her in debate, they're still going to vote for her because she's a minority woman, and that's all they need, and they're going to be like, okay, well, she's a Democrat, she's a minority, and she's a woman. And Chris is black, but he's a conservative. And that's all they're going to care about here in New York City. And I don't really have a chance. So I'm like, why am I going to put my time and effort to try and just be, a politician and have to follow a certain line and stay in that line when I can just have freedom of speech and say what I want to say right now? And so what I'm doing, and a quick shout out as well, is I'm doing a movement here in New York called a Conservative Republican Alliance, CRA-NY. And I'm just setting up a conservative group here of young conservatives, because we got people like Rob Smith here, the ex-Marine who, young black man did an amazing speech at the Metropolitan Republican Club last week. I want to get people like him on board, man. My boy Vish Burra, all these great young black conservatives, man. And not just black, just young conservatives in general, man. Because I got, young people who are Jewish, who are white, who are Asian, Latino. They're all ready to get on board, man. And I just want to show the country conservatism isn't some old white people living in the hills of Tennessee. They are all kinds of people, young, old, white, all races, all genders. And because I see them all the time. I see them every day. I see these different people. But yet the media will never put their camera on those people because that destroys their narrative. And that's, as you know, they're always trying to do with us is shut us down in so much of a form because we destroy the whole narrative as soon as we start talking.
Oh yeah. We blow up the narrative. I figured out my strategy for doing that. When Trump came down here for he had a rally in Fort Myers, which is like 2 hours south of me. I went to that rally, man, and I live streamed all of that on Facebook. It reached 500,000 people.
Wow.
It blew up the narrative because I'm like, look at all of these cool patriots. There were Asians for Trump signs. There were all that. I'm like, you'll never see this on CNN. And I'm like, make this go viral. And that's exactly what it did. That's what I'm going to keep doing. I told people, like, I'm going to literally go to a rally let me go in the middle of Tennessee or the middle of Mississippi. Let me go where that is, because I guarantee you it's going to be a bunch of patriots. There's going to be black people there. There's going to be Asians. There'll be Hispanics, Latinos, women, you name it. It doesn't matter. But the Democrat Party has so effectively conditioned the black mind and the Latino mind to believe that freedom, low taxes, liberty, Second Amendment, those are white people values. That literally makes no sense. It's so retarded to say that. But you got to understand, like, people have been programmed, like legit programmed. The reason why you wouldn't be able to beat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, like, what do you think the average IQ is of the people that are supporting her? I mean, she's spouting all these utopian ideas. She believes that we can be more like Sweden and Norway and Finland. She thinks that she's basically Bernie Sanders, but younger. She's stupid stuff that these countries are socialist. They're not. They're mixed economies. They have a lower corporate tax rate than we do.
Yeah.
They have a lower corporate tax rate than we do.
And
they have no defense budget. There's a lot of things that she says, like, everything's going to be free. Housing is a human right. Healthcare is a human right. But because she got that degree and she can spin some words, she just word salad. She says whatever sounds good. But in reality, her ideas suck and they're stupid. And she's like a bird brain.
Oh, no, she seriously
for her. Man. What are they thinking?
No, it's New York City, bro. In New York City, all they see in New York City is they don't even hear words. They just see, image. She's a woman. She's a minority. Like, it's like who has the most. It's like identity points. Like, okay, I'm a black man. I'm gay. So it's like you're going higher and higher on their identity chart, and she is like, all the way up there with the crazy with those identities, man. So she's so far up there that she can say, hey, I like chicken, and people are like, okay, all right, you got my vote. I mean, I just look at who you are, and who cares what you say. And she didn't have, when I interviewed her candidate, because I heard everybody talking about her. Oh, can she win? Is it possible that she can, this youngest candidate ever to win? Can it be possible? I said, you know what? Who was a candidate? Who's running against her? So I found the guy running against her. His name was Anthony Pappas. He's on my YouTube channel. You can see my interview I had with him. And he's this old rhino Republican guy. He's a nice guy, but he was such an old rhino. And he was just so dry. And people were like, watching me do an interview with him. They're like, Chris, can you run instead of him? And I'm like, come on, I'm just interviewing, And, but what I did when I did that interview, I was even calling her out a little bit, like, hey, are you afraid? You afraid to debate this man? What, are you scared? And I was like talking a little trash on the interview. And right after we did that, the newspapers and everything around, local newspapers here were saying, oh, we're setting up an interview. We set up a debate between Anthony Pappas. And so we got like the people talking about a debate. But then as people start turning their head a little bit, they just swept it under the rug and they never debated. And so she got to become this congressional, be in Congress without ever getting into a debate with anybody. So it's like, how can you tell me that person fought for that position or did, said the right words to get in that position? No, she just literally showed up and was young and attractive enough to some people, not me personally, but anyways, and that was enough to get her in, man. And I'm like, that's to me the representation of the Democrat Party, and that's why they're going to get taken over by socialists if they don't. And I used to say be careful. To me, it might even be too late. You know what I mean? They're just going to get taken over by a socialist party, and that to me, even as a conservative, kind of scares me because I'd rather, to be honest with you, have Democrat Party as opposition than socialist. You know what I mean? It's like I'd rather have Republican Democrat than Republican socialist, and they're just letting the radical side take over their party too. I'm like, you guys are going to be the straight socialists soon.
It's already happened. It's already happened. The thing
Bernie
is,
Sanders, Alexander Cortez, man.
Yeah, Bernie and Alexandria Cortez, and then you have the Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumers, that's just sitting there in the middle.
Yeah,
they're
actually you got Andrew Gullums and Beto Orko and all of them, man. Yep. They're all waiting.
Yep, these radical progressives, you see it play out. It's the millennials. The millennials, we are the highest. I don't know if you're a millennial or not. I'm a millennial.
I'm 35, man. I'm 35 is the oldest millennial right now at 35 you can be.
Okay.
So
pretty much millennials represent the largest voting bloc now in the US. And we're also the most college educated of any generation. Coincidentally enough, we're also the most deeply indoctrinated. You know, a lot of millennials have embraced identity politics like you wouldn't believe, like never before. Like they buy into this whole oppression doctrine. They believe that your identity and your victimhood is virtue and you should wear it like a badge of honor. You know, it's all about the oppression Olympics, like the victimhood hierarchy. So it's like if you're an undocumented Islamic, black, transgendered, female, feminist, vegan, then you're the most oppressed. Congratulations. Yeah. You win. Yep. You win. You get to say whatever you want on Twitter. You can call white people racist names. You could probably assault somebody white and you will be coddled and cradled and protected by liberals, white liberals. The media won't talk about it. They'll shield you. They'll shield you. And then anyone that tries to criticize you, then they'll say you can retreat into your identity and say, like Ocasio-Cortez said, oh, Ben Shapiro, you're just catcalling me. You don't want to debate me. You're catcalling me because I'm a woman. They do that. They go and retreat into their identity so they don't have to defend their bogus, stupid policies.
And you know, if you look at history, and guess who did that in the past? The Nazis did that in the past, man. That's where the Nazi youth came from, and all these radical groups back then. And they are so quick to call somebody else a Nazi. But if you really, that's why I hate even saying it about them, because they use the word so much that they kind of just deflated it. It's like almost a useless word term now. But I'm like, but you guys, if you really want to be technical with it, you're the ones who are doing the actions those people committed back in the day to become who they were. And it's kind of scary in a way, man. It's like, I hate when I talk to somebody who's 22, 23 years old, and they're talking to me like they've been oppressed the whole entire life. And I'm like, I'm older than you, and I live in the same country, and I've never been oppressed. You know, if I didn't do something, it's because I didn't put the effort forward to get it done, not because a white man held me back. You know, my grandfather was from the deep south of Macon, Georgia. You know what I mean? Recently passed a couple years ago. Great man. He would tell me stories about, you know, real racist things that happened down there. KKK burning crosses in the front yard, stuff that you see in the movies. He would tell me about. But guess what? He never did. He never played victim. He never said the white man owes him this, the white man owes him that. He would tell you something about something a white person did to him back in the day, or a white, radical group. But then he'll follow it immediately by saying, but look, my first mechanical job as a black mechanic, a white man helped me get that position, you know, and, you know, he helped my wife, my grandmother, get into college. White people helped her when it comes to getting in college and getting a degree. So he did that to show you, I'm telling you, there were things that were bad, but not all white people are bad. And we shouldn't play victim. We have to get out there and fight. So I'm like, if he can tell me this, I don't hear no 23-year-old from New York telling me they've been oppressed. I'm oppressed. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. You need more people.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you hear Jesse Lee Peterson talk about it a lot, as well as Thomas Sowell. I mean, these are black men that lived through Jim Crow. You know, that's when they were experiencing actual oppression by the Democrats, of course, but they were experiencing actual oppression, actual racism. Nowadays, it's like Kim Kardashian has braids. That's cultural appropriation. I don't want to see. Or the guy in Detroit, the firefighter who brought a watermelon to the Detroit Fire Department his first day at work, and they fired him for bringing a watermelon. Or what we were just talking about, I don't know if you guys heard about this, the weatherman that went on TV, and he said he was given the weather forecast for the next week, and he's like, here's going to be the forecast leading up to Martin Luther King Day. He got fired. He lost his job because he slipped and almost said coon, because he almost said Martin Luther Coon. He went back. He apologized. First of all, he should not have gotten fired. Second of all, if he was truly racist, why would he go back and apologize? If you're a racist, be a proud racist. Be like, yeah, I said coon and I'll say it again. He's not racist. But the left smeared him, ruined his career. He got fired for it. There are bloopers you can find. We just talked about it. You can find hours and hours of videos of news bloopers where they say a bunch of words that they're not supposed to because it's impromptu. They're speaking. They're talking. Everybody has done it. Everybody under the sun has misspoke, said a word like, oops, I said that backwards. It was an honest mistake, but they saw it as like, oh, he's just it's a dog whistle. It's racism. Everything's racism now. Yeah. It makes me so mad.
If you put your hand up in a certain way, it's racism. If you dress in a certain article of clothes, it's racism. If you stand a certain way, it's racism. And it's like, and they don't understand by doing that, they're taking away the power from that word, man. Because I remember, I'm sure you remember, growing up, man. I remember watching with my mom talk shows like, Oprah back in the day before she became a radical. But when they would have episodes where they had the KKK come out and they would show their little rallies to be like 8 people there. And they're out here, N-word this and N-word that, and then they'll come on the show and people be booing them and they'll be going back and forth. But guess what? They showed it on TV. Once the show was over, everybody forgot about that. They might talk about it at work a little bit, but moved on. And they weren't going after white people the next day and saying, white people are out to get us. They just moved. It was just, a little dumb, little small 0.01% of the nation was acting dumb like that. And everybody knew that, so we moved on. And now what they're doing is when they do that little 0.1% march and they putting CNN cameras there and Fox News cameras and not Fox News, I'm sorry, CNN, NBC, and all these cameras there. And look what Trump's doing. Look what Trump did this. Trump did all this. And you're giving power to them by doing that, man. And while you're giving power to them by doing that, you keep saying racist this, racist that, and you're giving less power to the word. So that's how you actually start white supremacy, by doing what you're doing. And but you guys act like you're so against it, but you guys are the ones who are promoting it in a way. So it's like, I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. And especially when you got people like Hillary Clinton who said, hot sauce in a purse, all black men look the same. Black men are super predators. And I'm Uncle Tom because I don't vote for it. I tell black people all the time they try to debate me and call me Uncle Tom for supporting Trump. I'm like, would it have been black for me if I would have voted for a person the woman who had a hot sauce in her purse? Would I have been black if I would have voted for the woman who said I look like all other black men? Would I have been black if I would have voted for a person who called me a super predator? Would I have been would I have been a good little black boy? And I talk like that. And they're like, well, and they always do the same thing. This is what you do with liberal. You corner them like that. And then they said, well, I didn't even vote. I'm independent. Oh, yeah, now you're independent. You were Mr. Hardcore Liberal at first. And then when I schooled you about the history of your party and about your leadership right now, then you come out and say you're independent. So it's, which is another weakness to me, because our black ancestors died for us to vote. So you're saying you didn't vote is just as weak as saying you're a liberal, in my opinion. So it's like, and to me, the only way you stand your 2 feet as a black man's country right now is to support conservatism. And that's what I'm doing, man.
Right. And there's no true independence. Let's call it what it is, man. The black people that say they're independents, they vote Democrat.
And they vote Democrat, and they don't bash Democrats either. I'm telling people, if you are true independent and you're out here bashing Trump all the time, next day you be bashing Democrats just as hard. But I see you bashing Trump. Don't say nothing about Democrats. So how's that independent? Seems like you're leaning on one side to me.
Yeah, and I get tired of people try to shame me all the time. I'm like, okay, who do I have your permission to support? Who do I have your permission to support? I'm sorry, I didn't know that I needed your permission to rock the American flag, to have a Trump flag on my wall. I did not know I was put on earth to ask you permission to do what I want to do. I don't have an authority figure. I don't answer to anybody.
You got that right.
Clear. And then they usually don't have a response for it because, like, he's not wrong. I hate what he's saying, but he's not wrong. I don't answer to you. So, and that's one thing when I said I went on O'Shea's channel, this is why they got so mad, because
I respect you for doing that, bro. When you said O'Shea's name, I was like, whoa, you know
oh yeah, that's the Lion's Den, man.
You right in there, boy.
Yeah, and like they do those Sunday Rumble shows, and ABL goes on there, and he crushes them. They cannot hang with that dude at all. They can hang with
my dude, man. ABL. I did a quick little live video with him at YBLS, man, because he was one of the first guys on YouTube doing his thing, man, and I always respect him for doing that, man. ABL is, he's one, like I said, he's one of the original warriors out there fighting, man. And Larry Elder to me was is the old man. When I saw Larry Elder at YBLS, man, I told him something, man, that made him laugh. I finally got to, we were a little line to speak with him, and when I got to my turn, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, Larry. When I was a little kid, I used to listen to you, and I thought you were like the super Uncle Tom. And then I got older and I started thinking more conservatively myself. And your voice became like, Super Uncle Tom to resonating with me and then helping me with my growth. And, I went to go shake his hand. He said, man, come on, brother, bring it in, man. He hugged me. And I could tell it really it meant something to him for me saying that. But I was just keeping it real, man. I'm like, I give him respect, man, because he was fighting for Black conservatism back when some people out there didn't even think it existed. It was just impossible. But he's been out there, trooper from day one, man. And, Thomas Sowell, of course, the legend himself. These guys have been doing it, man. So much respect to those guys, man.
Walter Williams, too.
Oh, Walter Williams, man. That's another legend, man. I'm sorry, I'm moving around a little bit. I got to get my charger. It's got 20% of my phone. I don't want to die mid-live stream.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I just want to bring up one more topic, and then we can wrap up. I want to get your thoughts on the whole Kevin Hart debacle, fallout with the Oscars, and then with him going on Ellen. And Ellen, giving him a pass, pretty much apologize, like saying she accepts his apology, and then the left jumped on Ellen.
Oh my gosh, Ellen. Okay, hold on one second. Let me get started on Ellen. My legs.
How are you going to jump on Ellen? My God.
That's the thing with Kevin Hart to me, man. He's a puppet, man. Let's be real here. Kevin Hart's a puppet, man. You know what I mean? And when the whole thing happened with him, with the whole look at this Facebook message from 5 years ago, and and he got attacked for that, I kind of stepped back and like, well, you play with fire, you get burned, my friend. That's what happens when you mess with a bunch of liberals, man. Now they're looking how they're getting you. And that's back to what we were saying before. That's the same Democratic Party. They used to hang us from trees. They're mentally hanging us from trees now. And they're doing that with Kevin Hart. You know what I mean? They're like, black man, we can take that away from you any second we want to. And they used 5 messages from 5 years ago on Facebook to do that. And like you said, he was saying the term gay, like, how before everything was so politically correct, all men we know have guy friends. Man, stop being gay, man. You're being, we always did that stuff like that, man. So that's all he was talking. He wasn't like, yo, we should find gay people and we hunt them down and find them. He wasn't talking like that. But they used this little, him using that word the way we used to use it. And they use that to hang him, man, and get rid of him, man. And, of course, Ellen comes out and defends him, and he goes on Ellen because, and that's, again, the white horse swooping in once again to say the black man on the left, man. And that's the white guilt always does with the blacks on the left. If you fall in line, they let you roll with them. But as soon as you go a little bit radical away from their beliefs, then they attack you. And if they want to bring you back in, they'll bring in the white knight and the white horse to come swoop you back in. And they get on the back of the white horse. Come on, we'll take you back in. But next time you better act right. Don't do that again. And that's what Ellen did with Kevin Hart, man. And it's like, and I tell blacks all the time, you want to be true independent, man. How can you be a Democrat, man? Because they keep you fitting that narrative, man. You have to follow that narrative if you're a black person and you're a Democrat. Because as soon as you step away from that narrative slightly, that's when they hang you. And Kevin Hart is dealing with it right now, man. And it's like, bro, they're gonna put you through the ringer over and over again now, man, because they know they got you.
You're so right, man. Shout out to Dina Marie. Dina, for the super chat, thank you. She said, excellent surprise guest, Mike. Excellent show and live stream. You guys better type in conservative in NY right now and subscribe to this man. If you're not, we got to get him up there. We got to get all the black conservatives need 100,000 subscribers, because that's how the message can just. We need megaphones, pretty much. We all need megaphones. I want to have the same platform as Snoop Dogg without all the ignorance and stupidity and rap music. I just want to be able to reach as many people as Snoop Dogg, so then I can counter his stupid statements. You mentioned what's going on with Ellen and everything like that. Culture, that's a bad culture that we have. We have a bad culture. You can't even say the word culture without cult. And that's what the left is. It's a cult.
I think, bro,
if you tiptoe off that liberal thought plantation, they will lynch you. They will rake you over the coals. You will be nailed to the cross. And that's what happened to Kevin Hart. And you know what? I don't really feel bad for him, because for a while, Kevin Hart tried to stay out of Trump bashing. That's pretty much your.
And I respected him when he did that at first. I respected him when he did that. And you saw when he went to that award ceremony what he did.
Yep, exactly. That's just what I was going to mention is Kevin Hart. He wanted to stay out, but you know what? The left, they're putting pressure on him, just like they put pressure on Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon wasn't saying anything about Trump. And now Jimmy Fallon's taking shots at Trump because they're like, hey, man, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. That is like your entry pass is you have to bash Trump. You got to get a standing ovation like Robert De Niro. F Trump. You got to say something like that to get a standing ovation so they know that you're one of them. And then if you're not, they'll rake you over the
They'll
coals.
Kanye West you. They're Kanye West you. Shout to Kanye, by the way. Kanye's a real man. Shout to Kanye for standing up for yourself, brother.
Yep.
And talk about he's still going to perform with the MAGA hat on.
Yep.
And, you know, so that,
Yep.
and when Kanye did that, I said to myself, thank you, Kanye. We needed that kind of voice to come out for the Black conservative movement and conservatism in general, you know.
Yep.
And so when he did it and he stood up, even when they attacked him, he still stood up. I respected him, man. And, you know, things got a little hectic, so he stepped back for a minute, but then he came right back and said, hey, I'm back again, man. So,
yep.
you know, we need more celebrities like Kanye to step up and not back down. You know what I mean? John Voight, an actor who lost his whole Hollywood career once he came out and supported Trump. He's still James Woods, another one. You know, man, we need people like that, celebrities like that, this just with backbone, man. This is America. We're the country of backbone. And we turn to such pansies and wimps, man. And it happened in the 8 years of Obama, but you know, we're showing people we still got fight in us, man. That's why I love living here, man.
Mm-hmm. And you know, when I say that we're on the right side of history, I literally mean that. I believe this is divine. I think it's a God's plan type deal, because you notice anybody that comes out and attacks Trump, they get some kind of karma. You talk about Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin was making jokes about Trump, and then what happened? Alec Baldwin gets an assault charge. Michael Avenatti, same thing. What happened to Stormy Daniels? Same thing. Kevin Hart, you got some karma there. Daz Dillinger talking about go mess up Kanye, beat him up. You know, he pretty much put a hit on Kanye West. He just got busted in Atlanta with a bunch of weed, felony charges. So he could be spending a lot of time. You got busted in a conservative Bible Belt state with weed. That's what I'm talking about.
Might as well be crack.
If you step up on Trump, if you criticize Trump, if you're going hard at Trump, you're making death threats to conservatives, karma.
Hey, shout out to Sarah Silverman, by the way. She got her show canceled today. The one when she bashed Trump on Hulu, it got canceled.
Who did?
The Sarah Silverman, or the comedian, that female comedian, that she's a Jewish woman who's a comedian. And you know, you got to think pretty hard, because she's not very popular. I thought she was kind of funny when she just came out, because she was before the political correctness. But when we got all PC, she went on the Trump bashing tour, and she got her whole show on Hulu, and it got canceled today because after one season, because all it was Trump bashing. So nobody wants to hear that nonsense no more, man. Take that somewhere else.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Well, appreciate you coming on, man. This was great. We have great chemistry, man. It's good having you on.
We definitely do, brother, man. I really enjoyed this. By the way, guys, it's my first time doing a live stream like this, man. Magnificent is an awesome dude, man. I've been watching this guy for a minute. And when he offered me the opportunity to do this, man, I didn't hesitate, man. And I just wanted to thank him for just bringing me on, and so we can just really get our voices heard, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, man, definitely. Let people know where they can find you. I put your channel in the chat so people should be able to find you. It's also in the description, but tell people where they can find you at. All right. Like real quick, conservative in New York, and that's IN, not N. Didn't do the whole, little quick abbreviations. Actually spelled out. Conservative in New York is my YouTube. You can find me on Instagram in conservative_IN_NY. You can find me on Facebook under my full name, Chris Wright. And I have Christopher Wright as well. I have two profiles, and they're not fake. They're both real. I just have to have a backup because they banned my main account for 30 days every other day. So I got to have a backup just to talk on Facebook. And you can find me on Twitter at conserv, CONSERVINNY. So you can find me anywhere there, man. And also my fan page on Facebook is Right is Right. So it's my last name, Wright, WRIGHT is RIGHT. And that's my fan page on Facebook if you want to reach me on there. So anyway there, man, you guys can contact me. I'm always here speaking the truth, man, like my boy Magnificent here. Just trying to spread the truth out here, brother. So please come out here and support us, man. We're just trying to do the right thing. Heck yeah, man. And I'll make sure to put your all your information in the links in the description so that people can go back and watch it. And shout out to everybody that super chatted. Thanks everybody that super chatted. Thanks for coming on live streaming. Stay on after we go offline here. Okay, definitely. We'll stop the broadcast. All right, guys. Catch you in the next one. All right, take it easy, guys.